Good morning. Wardley Map is a business strategy method centered around its own sophisticated value chain. Now, I am Pavel Hruby, and with my colleague Jesper Keen, we thought that it would be useful to bring attention of this value modeling and business ontologies community to Wardley Maps. When military commanders prepare for a battle, they do a lot of planning. But a well-known statement in military strategy is that no plan survives contact with the enemy. But in order to make the right decisions under unexpected situations, the military commanders have a map of the battlefield, and it allows them to define the doctrine, goals, and the leadership based on the landscape, climate, and other external forces. In business strategy, we create business plans, often rather wishful than realistic. And Steve Blank, a Silicon Valley entrepreneur and professor at Stanford University, observed that no business plan survives first contact with a customer. And it would be really nice if we would have a map of some sort for business decisions. And this was the main motivation of Simon Wardley, a UK entrepreneur, to create a map of a business ecosystem, allowing to adapt business strategy to unknown external forces using what he called topographical intelligence. So this is a Wardley map for an online photo service. And like military maps have north on top, then Wardley map have a customer on top. And right below, the service is directly available to the customer, like picture manipulation, online photo storage, and print. And all of them are available via the website, but the website needs a platform to run on. It also requires CRM for customer identification, and both need some compute capability. And the compute again needs a data center and electric power. We can see that components on a map are on certain places based on two dimensions. The vertical dimension defines visibility to the customer. The components on top are directly visible to the customer, and the components which are lower and less visible. The horizontal dimension defines the evolution stage of the component. So we could have a component in a genesis phase, which are products and services just invented, and so far the commercial value is unknown. It could be a success or failure. Through custom-built components, where some customers see value in it, through a product or rental phase. There are those components you can buy from the shelf. And the main differentiator is mainly the new features that producers compete against. Through the commodity phase, where everything is standardized, so new features no longer attract customers, and the only thing that matters is price. Evolution stage is crucial to business strategy. For example, users' tolerance to failure depends on the component's evolution stage. Failure is more or less assumed for the components in the genesis stage, but it is not tolerated for the products. The evolution stage also determines the optimal organizational structure. Simon Wardley divides people into three groups based on their mindset and skills. Pioneers, who like experimenting and inventing something new, settlers, who can turn a prototype into a product, and town planners that understands the economies of scale. So the pioneers best contribute to the components in the genesis phase, settlers fit to the custom build and product phases, while town planners best work with commodities. We can also see that agile methods that are embracing change fit best to the components in the genesis phase. Lean, which focuses on improving value and reducing waste, fits best to the custom build and product phases, while Six Sigma, which is data-driven and reduces deviations, is best applicable to the commodities where stability, efficiency, and price are most important. So in business strategy based on Wardley Map, it would be a mistake to form a team that is responsible for the components in the different stages of evolution, as they require different approaches and people with very different skills. Regarding outsourcing, which is in business strategy important topic, mature and stable technologies, that is commodities and products, are best candidates for outsourcing. Components in the genesis phase are too unstable. They could be outsourced in an agile contract, but a company basically lets other people to learn at the company's cost, and it creates opportunity for future competition. For example, when IBM invented a personal computer, they outsourced development of the new operating system to Microsoft and the design of new chips to Intel. And these projects were officially successful because they were completed on time and budget. But regarding strategy, IBM probably gave away 80% of its future potential in just these two contracts. A leading edge forum in the UK reported that in the first quarter of 2020, where the lockdowns started because of the COVID pandemic, companies with Wardley Map adapted to restrictions and disrupted supply chains better and faster than companies without a Wardley Map. A Wardley Map is a very informal method. The components on our method are called activities, practices, data, knowledge. Some people call them just capabilities, and the components on top are sometimes called customer needs. I will go back to this later. And the relationship between the components is often called the need relationship. So let's compare Wardley Map and the REA ontology. So why REA? That's because REA is a formal bridge between practically all known models of value chain processes and methods. And Robert Buhlmann, in his blog at Ludwig von Mises Institute, calls REA software models of Austrian School of Economics. So the REA describes software models for two fundamental economic processes. The exchange process, where a buyer and seller can exchange something of value. So buyer and seller called economic agents. The things they exchanging are called economic resources, and the actual transactions, when that economic resource changes ownership or possession from one agent to another, it's called economic event. And here is the data model. The second process is a conversion process where an economic agent creates its new resource by using or consuming other resources. And if you implement these two models, in your software solution, you can customize them to any business process that can occur in the economy. And if you want to know more, here's the reference. So our first observation when we started to map Wardley maps to the area ontology is that Wardley map only contains conversion processes. They specify what resources are used or consumed in order to produce other resources, but Wardley map does not specify economic exchange. So it means that doesn't specify what resources have been exchanged for what. And this makes the mapping between Wardley map and REA quite straightforward, because we can model the need relationship as the REA conversion process. So, for example, here on the slide, the CRM service is produced using the compute service. The customer-facing components are informally called needs, but for the online photo service, the real customer need is something like turning the raw pixels in the camera image into a good-looking picture. And this need is not represented on a Wardley map, The Wardley Map just describes a bundle of services that together satisfy this need. But this makes mapping to the area ontology much easier, because we can also represent this part of Wardley Map as an area conversion process. For example, the print component, the print service, is produced by using the website, and the print service is provided by the enterprise and received by the customer. From the REA model, we can see that we cannot produce print service just using a website. We also need to use physical printer and probably consume print paper and other products and services. And these services could be outsourced, but we can use this information from the REA model to improve the Wardley Map. So here is a summary. Most concepts of Wardley maps can be mapped to REA easily. This means that we can, using the REA model, automatically generate an ERP system or asset management solution supporting the Wardley map value chain. But there are some concepts that are perhaps out of scope of the REA ontology. One of them is business purpose. An example is designed for driving pleasure, used by BMW, or advancements through technology, used by Audi. And it is important because the business purpose, we sell shirts, is very different than we define fashion. It attracts different kind of customers, and the whole value chain for these purposes would be different. So Bill McCarthy will tomorrow have a presentation on aggregations. So let's see whether there is a way to aggregate the whole REA model of the company to a single sentence like this. And it would be very powerful, I think, if it would be possible. But the evolution stage of an economic resource, the climate, the external forces, and the leadership, the moves we can make, are probably not captured by REA. But if you have an idea, let us know in during the discussion. So Jesper and I would like to hear some feedback. And firstly, what do you think about Wardley maps? Then, is our analysis of the user needs correct? And we also said that stage of evolution, external forces, leadership, do not have corresponding elements in the REA ontology. So is it okay, or would it make sense to try to extend REA in this direction? So both Jesper and I will be present in the discussion, and also during the whole conference, including the virtual beer. So we look forward to your questions and comments. Thank you.